I was rushed to the hospital, barely conscious, and that day was given a diagnosis that changed my life forever. Hi everyone, my name is Tony and this is Sinscraft, a men's personal development channel where we talk about fitness, mindset, relationships, and lifestyle. I was really not sure if I should put today's video in the lifestyle or the mindset category, but I think I'm gonna stick to the mindset category because living with a health condition is much more about your mindset than anything else. First and foremost, I do want to make a disclaimer that in this video I will be talking about chronic health conditions of the autoimmune character and not something you can treat with medication, or also not something that is fatal in the short term. So I did share this in the previous videos, but I am actually a type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed in 2019 at the age of 20, and it was a really hard time. I do remember the challenges that I was going through. I used to live a very problematic, very unhealthy lifestyle in college, drinking 4 to 5 times per week, partying, because I was using that as a coping mechanism for a whole bunch of insecurities that I had, but also to cope with the stress of pursuing my aerospace engineering degree, which was a very hard degree and required a lot of work. And I was very scared that I'm going to fail school. I won't be able to keep up with my lectures, with my grades, with my tests, and I'm going to disappoint my parents who have invested so much into me, who have moved me from a different country just so I can pursue this education. So I was very, very stressed at the time, and oftentimes they do link late onset diabetes to stress, which at this point I'm thinking could be the reason why I got it. But essentially, that summer of 2019, I started experiencing a whole bunch of different symptoms. And diabetic symptoms, they are usually very consistent between people. The first thing you start experiencing is this consistent lack of energy. I couldn't function properly during the day. I just wanted to go and sleep and lay in bed all day long. Not because it was just some kind of relaxing meditation type of nap, but because I physically did not have energy to do anything. Diabetes is a condition when your pancreas, one of the organs in your body, stops producing an essential hormone called insulin that is responsible for energy transfer from the food that you eat, specifically from carbohydrates, but also from other types of macronutrients, into energy that your body can use, for your muscle function, brain function, cell function, all kinds of different things. And what happens is that this function of energy transfer becomes a lot less efficient. Your body just does not have as much energy to use, and you become lethargic. It tries to conserve energy by making you go to sleep much more. You become tired constantly. At the same time, you're also extremely hungry because the body's like, I'm not getting enough energy. It's time to drink and eat more. You become thirsty, you go to the bathroom every 15 minutes, and there's this constant cycle of sleeping, waking up, having to go to the bathroom, running back, drinking more, eating more. And all of that essentially leads to your blood sugars going very, very high because there's nothing. Insulin is what actually takes the energy from the sugar in your blood and transfers it then into other places in your body. But now that there is no insulin, your blood sugar just continues going up and up and up, and gets up to the point when if it stays that high for a very long time, it's going to cause you to pass out. And also, if it stays high for a long time and you don't pass out, you may experience a whole bunch of nasty complications. And we're talking things like limb amputations or you going blind, a whole bunch of nasty things. Which is why it's so important for type 1 diabetics to control their diabetes and use exogenous insulin injections to basically simulate this pancreas function using external means. But this is not the point of this video. The point of this video is for all the people who do have a specific health condition, chronic health condition that they live in, to help you get out of that mindset that your health condition is limiting you in some way. Because what I learned in my journey, and at this point I've lived with diabetes for over 4 years, is that the majority of those negative thinking patterns that I had about my health condition were just made up in my mind. And there is ways to completely turn that around and actually think of your health condition as your greatest strength. So I want to talk about the main 5 limiting beliefs that you may be experiencing if you have a health condition. The first limiting belief is that I will never be the same as others and I will never be normal. Well, when it comes to being the same as others, even if you don't have a health condition, you're not going to be the same as others. Every person is uniquely different in their own way. We all have our talents, our strengths, our weaknesses, things that we go through. Comparing one human being to another human being is like comparing an apple to a peach. But we're totally different, and we all go through completely different lives. And your health condition is just part of that. It's part of what makes your life different from that other person's. And when you want to say, I will never be normal, why do you want to be normal when you get to be special? Your health condition is really something that not a lot of people necessarily have, as comparing, of course, to the global population. Now there's 8 billion people in the world, and it really makes you unique. It really makes you stand out from the crowd. Why do you want to be normal if you can be unique? The second limiting belief is that I will never find a partner or a romantic relationship. Well, when it comes to this is, at first I was very insecure to tell partners about my diabetes because I thought that, they wouldn't be okay with it. They would kind of look at it as baggage on my end and not accept me for it. So I would oftentimes wait until I would really get to know the person and I would really trust them and then just open up about it. And even though this never really caused any issues, this was more a problem on my end because I was really limiting myself and not opening up my diabetes, out of fear. But I learned that it's a lot better to be transparent with your partner, to tell them that, hey, I have a health condition and this is just part of who I am. I embrace who I am. And know that, yes, every person usually in a relationship has a baggage. But from what I learned, usually the mental baggages are a lot more, problematic in a relationship than physical baggages like health conditions. For the most part, your health condition is not going to be causing issues in your relationship as long as, of course, you're taking care of it and you're treating it seriously and you're, keeping up with your health. However, mental baggages are oftentimes a lot more detrimental because it's usually traumas, it's things that a person hasn't worked through. And for your partner, accepting your mental baggage could be a much greater challenge as opposed to accepting your physical one. So it is totally a limiting belief that your health condition could prevent you from finding a partner. And trust me, there is a partner for anybody out there. And the majority of people are going to be more than willing to accept you for who you are as long as you accept yourself. The person that will never find a relationship and they will never find a partner that loves them is a person that believes that there is no relationship for them. But if you believe that there is, you absolutely and undoubtedly will. The third limiting belief is that I will always be limited and I will never be able to compare to others. When it comes to that, in my personal experience, I've experienced that in my fitness journey. I thought that I would never be able to put on as much muscle as other people at the gym. I would never be able to, work out as hard as other people because I have diabetes. I'm going to go hypoglycemic. My blood sugar is going to get low and I might pass out in the middle of the gym and embarrass myself. So I just have to be very gentle with myself and I have to be very careful with how I work out. So I thought that I was limited in that sense, that other people will always be able to outperform me. And I realized all of that was complete BS. There is ways to go around all of these things as long as you do enough research and understanding of your health condition for the most part. And of course, I'm talking about diabetes right now. There's other health conditions I might not know as much about, but there is definitely ways to overcome those challenges in my situation. However, at the same time, this comparison mindset, regardless if you have a health condition or not, is always going to be toxic for you. If you didn't have a health condition, you could be easily comparing yourself to other people and saying, oh, they're making more money than me, or they are more fulfilled in their relationship than me. And when you are in that comparison mindset, nothing good can come out of it. Absolutely nothing. Because, like I said before, all of us live completely different lives. We're on completely different paths. And what you might be lacking as compared to the other person, they might be lacking in a different area of their life as opposed to you. So comparing it is completely pointless. In my opinion, it's a lot better to compare yourself to how you were before. And if you have a health condition, think about how your life was before your health condition. What areas of your life have improved because of your health condition? Are you more health conscious now? Do you keep track of your health a lot more diligently? Has your health condition maybe potentially changed some of the morals that you have, or maybe reshaped the way that you think about things? Has it made you more generous? There's many ways to kind of think about this. Compare yourself also to how, let's say, you were with your health condition the first year you were diagnosed. Have you made any improvements on living with your health condition better, keeping track of your health better and more efficiently, making the most of what you have? Have you improved as a person as the time goes by as compared to how you were before? Those are the kind of metrics, comparison metrics, that I think are much more important. The fourth limiting belief is that people will give me special treatment forever, and it's the special treatment that I never asked for. When it comes to this, I can say that it is definitely true that when you just get your health condition, of course, depending on which one, you will be getting special treatment from people, and some people are going to give you this pity that you might not necessarily want as a man. However, I learned that it's a lot better to actually show them that you don't need this special treatment through your actions and the way you lead your life, as opposed to just get frustrated, get into fights with them, if those people are close to you, like your family members, and try to argue your point with words. Because at first, for me, I thought that, I won't be able to become fit at the gym, to the level that I wanted to be. But once I learned about my health condition and I got into the gym and I, committed to the process of doing everything I can to become fit, other people looked at me and they were like, you know what, this guy is perfectly capable of doing this, just like some other people can who don't have the health condition. So why should we give him special treatment if he is amounting to all of those same things and even greater things, like, as compared to normal people? So he doesn't need special treatment. We're just going to treat him normal. And this is just something that you have to prove. And if you can prove to yourself and to others that you can live with this, you are not suffering from this fate that you were given, then you will never be getting special treatment again. And arguments usually don't solve that problem. It's really just showing it via example. And the last, final limiting belief is that life has given me a bad card. Or in other words, you can talk about this as a victim mindset. You have to realize that you are not a victim if you have a health condition. Your health condition is actually one of your greatest strengths. Thinking of yourself as a victim in this situation is actually going to give you nothing except for suffering. Instead, I highly urge you to look at your health condition as actually one of the biggest strengths that you could have. You have to realize that a health condition has immense potential to change your life for the better. Did you know that people, for example, people like myself that have type 1 diabetes, on average live longer than people who don't? And it's not because they suddenly become superhuman from doing those exogenous insulin injections. It's literally because they just start keeping track of their health a lot better than other people do. This health condition really forces you to take this approach of, hey, I really got to take care of myself. Because of this health condition, and also because of the changes that you have to overcome, like, of course, I had to completely change my life around for me to adapt to living with this, you also become so much more resilient. There is a book by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning. I highly recommend that you read this book. It's about the survivor from a concentration camp during the Second World War, and he talks specifically about the fact that all the suffering, this immense amount of pain that he had to survive and endure, the hunger, everything else during that time, is actually what gave meaning to his life. Overcoming the challenge of living in a certain condition or with a certain condition can actually, you can look back at it and you can be like, hey, I overcame this super crazy thing that not a lot of people are able to overcome and still stay healthy and still stay happy and still find joy in this life. And you're going to be like, nothing else can really bring me down. This is really what gives you meaning and gives you purpose. And oftentimes you can look at it and this event has actually triggered something amazing, some kind of amazing changes. For example, for me, diabetes has really put me on this fitness path. And now I want to inspire other people to be the same and tell them that it's actually possible to become great in fitness against all odds, regardless if you have a health condition or not, if you have some mental insecurities or not. All of it is possible as long as you eliminate those limiting beliefs. So instead of adopting a victim mindset, I highly recommend you do what is in your control, okay? To learn everything that you absolutely can about your health condition. Read research papers, news articles. Maybe there is a coach that you could hire or a free coach that your health insurance can provide to you. Understand your condition to the point that a scientist understands it. And at that point, you can really learn, how do I live with this thing the most efficiently? How do I take advantage of the things that I can do outside of medication to make my life with this thing easy? At this point, I can tell you my insulin injections or me checking my blood sugar, none of that stuff really takes that long for me. It's literally just a normal part of my day. It takes me just a couple of minutes, a few times a day to make sure I get this done. And I don't even think about it. It just happens to me subconsciously because I became so good at it. Learn also what you can do outside of medication. For example, for me, working out goes really well with my diabetes because it reduces the amount of insulin that I have to use. It also keeps my blood sugar on average lower as well. It just regulates and balances things out so much better. Also, the amount of stress that I experience in my life increases my blood sugar levels. So I really have to practice mindfulness and meditation and all these things to, bring it down and keep track of my health even better than that. So once again, this victim mindset is not going to get you absolutely anywhere, because the only person that can limit the things you can or cannot do, regardless if you have a health condition or not, is you. Thank you very much. I really hope you found this video valuable. If you are interested in shortened versions of the topics that we discuss on the Sinscraft channel related to men's health, fitness, mindset, relationships, and lifestyle, please subscribe to my weekly newsletter, and you can just click the link in the description of this video and it's going to take you to the sign up page. Thank you very much once again. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.